the check engine light came on. So the man is diagnosing with his fancy tool.
This is the Solus Edge.
It helps us diagnose what the engine light's telling us. And it's definitely something in the
Evaporative emissions system.
I was about to say that.
Okay, so we're on the SnapOn Solus Edge. We've got a check engine light on, and we're going to go through and do some diagnosis using the scanner to see what we can find out. So we're over here, and we're going to go down to Troubleshooter. Just click on that, and it's in the engine section. And then we can go through all these different ways of diagnosing our particular problem. These are super great to use, the fast track fixes, if we're connected to the internet and we have those options, but we're not connected to the internet right now.
I mean, the cheapest and easiest fix that it possibly could be is the gas cap, but we already replaced that because the engine light has come on before, and we assumed that was the problem. When we took this in to get smogged a few months ago, the guy at the smog station actually lost our cap and gave us a different one, and we knew it wasn't the right one, and we just assumed all along that that was the problem. And actually the engine light hadn't come on for a while since we put the new gas cap on, and but the light comes on again. So now we have to move on to reasons number 2, 3, and 4 that the scanner is telling us.
When you put gas in it, did you tighten the gas cap to where it clicked? I mean, did it tighten more before it clicked, or just click immediately?
It clicked immediately.
Okay, then it was tight.
Yeah.
All right.
Phew, I passed that test.
That's your story, you're sticking to it.
So he was asking about me filling up the gas, because after he replaced the gas cap, I drove it for a day and it was down to empty, so I filled it all the way back up, and then he was pleased that the light did not come on after that. That's why we thought we had solved the problem, but it came on today. So now we're thinking that it's something we're gonna have to replace underneath, and so far this scanner tool just ran a test and it's saying that something is not opening. Either a valve is not opening or something's clogged. We just have to figure out one of 3 things that it could be, and we have until 7:30 because that's when AutoZone opens. He's underneath the car trying to figure out if he can see anything.
So there's a big cover over this. This is your charcoal canister here, and there's your vent valve.
Here?
This is your vent valve right here.
Okay.
And you want to make sure that these hoses are in good shape and they're not cracked and split, because that could be a source of a leak. And there's this big one here, and there's this thing here that's just open.
Oh.
There's nothing to it.
Okay.
So I'm trying to see would there be something that goes to it.
That would explain.
So what I want to do now is just take this thing down. Yeah.
Here's 3.
Pieces that come off of this. Okay. That one. So we have the solenoid off, and we're just going to test it and see if we can make it open. Or make it closed, actually, because it's open now.
How do you know it's open?
Because we can blow through it. It's coming out right here.
All right, so it's possible it's stuck open.
I would usually like to get these little alligator clips that clip on there, but we just don't have everything that we need right this second. First thing we'll do is just touch it on here, see if we hear it clicking.
Ooh, I even saw a little spark.
Now you need to blow on that.
Why?
Just to see if it flows through or not.
Why you have the wires to it?
Yes.
Are you gonna electrocute me?
Yes. It's not gonna hurt much. Here, hold this, pick this up. Alright, so that tells me that this is working.
Okay, it's working, thank God.
Well, I know, but now what's the problem? That alone could have damaged the canister, and the plastic canister could be broken. But, so the canister could be leaking from, you know, an actual impact.
So what are you doing now?
Just taking this off, see if we can find the purge solenoid. So this is our purge solenoid. So what it'll do is it'll open up, computer will open this up, and it'll allow fumes, gasoline fumes, to come in, go through here and into the engine. So those fumes will be burned instead of this raw gas fumes to go out to the atmosphere. So we can test this one pretty easily. We could just pull this off here, and see if we can blow through it. And like this one is supposed to be normally closed, so it should be closed right now, so we should not be able to blow through it. Let me think, I'll take this side off. So this should be 100% closed here. Feels closed to me. Okay, so that just told us that's not that. So the two solenoids that we checked, this one's normally closed, and it is closed. And the other one is normally open, and it does open and close.
Yeah.
So this one could not create a leak because it's closed, so it couldn't leak. So that's not a source of a leak. So our only other option is a hose somewhere on this damn thing. There's a hose, vacuum hose that's leaking.
Which means you have to do a smoke test.
Or a canister, yeah. So what I'm looking at is this plug just will not plug in, snap in, plug in. You look inside there, you can see the two little prongs. One of the prongs is just flattened right down. So that's what we're gonna try and do, is fix that. Let's see, oh Jesus. Well, you can tell it hasn't been plugged in a long time.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it's been corrody to the max, man. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I think it's gonna work. Oh, there it is.
That's nice.
I like that. Okay, so that's good. So now the second thing is these vacuum lines here. You see this one, this small one here?
Oh yeah. Definitely need to replace that.
Yeah, so we're gonna take that off right now. That's definitely a leak.
Yep.
That's going right through. So that comes off. What I would like to do is get this hose, put this all back together, run that test on the scanner again.
Exactly, yeah.
And it might be say, hey, you're good.
All right, everything's put back together underneath, and you just started the car, place that vacuum hose
into the DLC connector underneath the dash. There we go.
and this thing just came on.
Okay, so the problems we found were a disconnected electrically. The plug was disconnected to the two-way solenoid down there, the two-way switch, and we also found a vacuum line that was cracked right on that switch. That was pretty massively cracked, so I'm sure that was a vacuum leak. And of course the two-way switch wasn't even plugged in, so that was a problem. And then also the gas cap was the other thing. We did replace the gas cap. So there's 3 things that either one of them could have caused
and we're hoping that this is gonna do it.
So now we're gonna go through and tell the system to check itself again. Come on, here we go. It's a 03 Honda Pilot, 3.5 liter. Yep, that's the vehicle. We'll do engine. Well, we're not going to have any codes, but we'll go through the motions anyway. Codes only. Permanent codes. Nope, no codes, so we'll just back out. We'll get into the... Let's see if we can do the functional tests. Evap system function test. Okay, so this test may need to have the key on and engine off. So key on, engine off, and continue. And it's automatic. Okay, check the fuel gauge, indicate that it's between the full and the empty line. And it's actually not, it's a little...
It's on the full, right?
Well, it's actually, looking at it from here, it's over.
Uh-oh.
But I think that's just because you just filled it up. So
yeah.
It's just, I'm sure that's accurate, so I'm going to say it's accurate. Start engine. Please confirm there are no DTCs, diagnostic trouble codes, on the ECM, which is the engine control module. The PCM, the powertrain control module. So, yep, there's no trouble codes. All right, so it's doing its test. We're going to see we're in test mode 1, and we're going to be looking at the these 2 valves here in the bottom. So last time we were getting that it was turning them on and off, even though this bypass one, well, actually it was the other two-way one, which I don't even see on this screen.
Well,
but anyways, these are just telling us that on, off, on, off. That just tells us that the computer is actually sending the signal, but whether the valve actually opens or closes, we don't know until we go actually down there and do a test on it.
Right, we're in test mode 2.
So hopefully if it comes back
with nothing,
with, you know, everything's good, that means that right now it's creating pressure or vacuum in the tank, and it's doing that by closing and opening these different valves. So if it actually, you know, pulls a vacuum, then we know all the solenoids worked and everything's great. So that's what we wanted to see.
Ooh, test mode 3. That's moving faster though.
That's good.
Through the tests.
It's good. It may have had a hard time last time because that one wasn't even plugged in, and there was a vacuum leak.
Yeah.
So.
Oh.
So that FTP sensor you see there, that's the fuel tank pressure sensor, and it's at 2.49. That's good. It's registering pressure.
Do you remember what it was before?
I don't. So what it's going to do is it'll put either a pressure or a vacuum in there in the tank, in the system, and then it has to hold it there to see if it changes. So I think that's what it's doing now. It's just...
Yeah, well, it's doing all variations of on and off.
Yeah, let's see. Oh, I saw it jumped up to 4.88. So you see that FTP sensor, and it says V right next to it?
Yeah.
That's a voltage. So that 2.49 is a voltage that it's reading based off the pressure. So that's not like 2.49 pounds of pressure or even a vacuum. That's vacuum converted to voltage that the sensor does. Test results.
So after all that, the same failures came up. We studied a diagram of the system from online, but names for parts did not match up with the failed parts identified in the Solus Edge, nor did the diagram look like what we saw under the car. We ended up doing a smoke test on the entire evaporative emissions system and could not find any leaks outside the system. So Tim used the Solus Edge to direct each solenoid to open up and close while he lied underneath the car and listened. There was one solenoid that never clicked, like it was opening and closing. So the new theory is that solenoid needs to be replaced to fix the problem.